Thank y'all for
Let's watch this video and let me know what you think about it.
And my question is, say you've been in a relationship where your goodness and your innocence were preyed upon and mishandled. How do you honor your newfound wisdom without becoming hardened in a future relationship, especially when it offers you a new chance at love?
Dang, that was packed. Give me that card, baby. I gotta read that. Let me see that. Say you've been in a relationship where your goodness and innocence were preyed on and abused. How do you honor your newfound wisdom without becoming hardened in a future relationship? What's the newfound wisdom?
So usually when you go through a hard situation, it's almost what Sheila and Troy were talking about in the Tyler Perry movie, right? And Sheila turns to Troy and she says, the hardest thing about having a bad man is learning how to handle a new one, right? So when you go through a bad situation, you get lessons, and moving forward, that turns into wisdom if you let it. How do you have the knowledge of what you went through in your bad situation, take that moving forward to create a future without shutting out the new person? Does that make sense?
Heal.
Forgiveness.
What's your... Go ahead.
You got to forgive a person before you can really move on. I feel like I've dealt with this situation a little bit, and until I was fully healed and until I forgave that person, I wasn't able to move on. Now, I was dating, but I wasn't shit, to be honest, and that's because I was holding on to so much baggage. Until you let that shit go and forget that person, you cannot be free.
And what you're describing is a trauma loop. We have to be very, very, very aware of our trauma loops, y'all. Because what happens is we get into new relationships, new circumstances, and we start to loop. That means we start to experience the same things we experienced in the past, and we start to act and behave as though it's happening right now. That's called a loop. So you got to take inventory of, when am I looping? And when you're looping, it's your responsibility, right, to have the awareness to be like, hold on, let me perception check. Is this really happening, or is this my trauma loop? If it's your trauma loop, then you use self-talk that says this is not happening, this is already over, and you use it as a rubric to know what you have to work on. Now, if you and this man are already close enough for you to say, baby, listen, I think I'm having a trauma loop. This is really what's going on. We have to start communicating with the person we're with, y'all. We got to stop getting into relationships and saying, you triggered me, knowing I came in here already fucking triggered, broken, and looping.
Right.
From the beginning, especially with the person who is new, who has your best interest at heart. The worst thing you want to do is be looping, bringing in your past trauma, having trauma responses and reactions, and this person doesn't even have the benefit of the doubt to know what you're going through. A real relationship is a relationship that you can open up to, be vulnerable with, and say, listen, this is who I am. This is the good, the bad, the ugly. You rocking with me? You rolling with me? Can you help me process through this? If he can't help you get through that, then guess what? He's not the man for you. And don't feel embarrassed about your shit. Learn how to love every part of you. That's what self-love is. Because until you can love yourself unconditionally, there won't be a human being on earth that can give you what you ain't give yourself.
Trill, you got something for me?
Could you repeat the initial question?
Yes. Basically, you go through things, you get information from that. How do you take that new information into a new relationship? So you're not being dumb. You don't want to just throw caution to the wind. You want to be mindful of the things that you see, the things that you feel, but still give yourself the space to open up for love again.
I think that like the main thing is not holding that new relationship to the lessons you learned prior to. I think that's the main thing. A lot of times we'll learn some shit in terms of watching the game tapes of how this old relationship ended, and then we'll go in there and come in there with assumptions. So when we see shit that they doing, we jump right back to that past relationship, and it's just like, I see that before, but I can't hold this new person to the lessons that I learned prior to. And I think as long as that's the case, then you'll be all right. But again, it's about learning those lessons. I think that's the hardest thing. I think a lot of people don't necessarily learn the lessons they need to from prior relationships. They just, this shit ends and I jump into something else because I'm used to being in a relationship and I don't want to be alone. But I think it's pivotal that you learn something actually from the prior relationship and then go into the new relationship. But again, the key is not to hold that new person to what the old person did, and you're going to be straight.
Kitty?
Yeah. Whenever you go through any type of traumatic situation, like abuse and stuff like that, you develop a new belief system. And so you start filtering through that trauma. As Doc was saying, you start filtering the experiences through that trauma. What we tend to do is we take that trauma when we go to somebody else and we still filter the same thing. So we have to reframe the way that we think and we have to reframe the way that we believe, because if not, we're going to misinterpret a whole lot of things. So if I was going through abuse, easily I can start to believe that I can't trust this person, because I start operating, and one of the schemas that you see is mistrust and abuse. And so you're operating that schema with just a whole bunch of beliefs. Just think of a full umbrella full of beliefs. I can't trust you, you'll abuse me, you'll hurt me, those things like that, and you'll take it to that new person. We got to stop looking in general and stop thinking in a polarized way. That person did that to me. You did not. Just because I can't trust that person does not mean that I cannot trust you. Just because that person abused me doesn't mean that you'll abuse me. But it all goes with, when I start to believe something and I start to think something, what's my emotional reaction to it anyway? Because I need to figure that out first. If I can figure out what triggers me, that gives me an emotional response, I can see how I'm going to behave off of that. Am I behaving because of a fear? If I'm doing so, before I even get to the next person, that's something I have to readdress. I have to go in and start dismantling all of these beliefs that served me at first, because all our beliefs do is protect us. I have to go and look at all of these beliefs that I had, of believing that I would be hurt by people, of believing that I couldn't trust people. I use that as something protective. But I start to realize, as I start being more mindful and I start really looking at these experiences, I'll start to see that it's not protecting me, it's sabotaging me. And if it sabotages me, it's coming from a fear. So we have to address the fears and the beliefs before we make somebody else be accountable for what we experienced in the past. But take all of your experiential wisdom, take all of your knowledge with you. You can still be mindful with it, just don't punish the next person because of it.
That's so good. Thank you.
I love everybody's responses.
Get her.
This shit ain't got nothing to do with your next person. Respectfully. We got to learn that we put our own seatbelt on. It is not saying that you won't get into an accident anymore. It's not saying that you won't get into another toxic relationship. But in that single space between your last relationship and your next relationship, did you find the power to walk away from something that didn't serve you? Did you find the power of your boundaries? And if you have trust in your boundaries and your ability to walk away from something and identify something that's not safe, then now you feel comfortable. But when we don't do that inner work before the relationship, now we're still in this vulnerable place where we don't know what to do, and we're trusting this person not to get in an accident. And here's the thing, that person is human. He's going to make some mistakes. But this is why it's important for us to protect ourselves with our boundaries and standards before getting in a relationship.
But you don't have relational experiences in your singlehood often.
Yeah, I understand that, but I also understand that before we do that, I know that I'm not gonna put up with something.
Right.
After the relationship, I got in because I didn't have my own boundaries and my ability to walk away. That is a systemic thing. It has nothing to do with the people I was with. So after that relationship, if I do that inner work on myself, I find my self-confidence. I know that leaving a relationship won't destroy me because that one didn't. I know I'ma still be here. I'ma still pursue my dreams. It's gonna be all right on the other side of it. Now I'm more comfortable if I have to walk away. It's less about whether or not I trust you in the beginning. It's I trust myself. I trust myself a lot.
Yes.
And as, just real quick before we go, as men, we can read that. Like your lack of willingness to walk away, like we can read that, and we make our decisions and how we deal with you based off of that.
And I want to say really quick, go ahead.
Mike, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
First, giving honor to God. My biggest issue with what I'm experiencing right now is nobody has grace for the brother that took her in this unhealed spot and tried to make a mountain out of a molehill. 2, the curse of being attractive is attracting more distractions.